Sean Combs is being kept away from the general inmate population. You say his fame makes him a target.
Yeah, sure. And not necessarily at the MDC only. I mean,
anywhere.
Yes, in my humble estimation, his life, his safety is in jeopardy in any correctional lockup right now. If it is true, as reported, that he is housed in the special housing unit, it's important to note that the special housing unit is a lockdown, 24-hour lockdown unit.
A person close to him apparently said, quote, spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him. If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they were...
Once known for his lavish lifestyle, music mogul Diddy has spent Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's behind bars instead of in his luxurious mansion, and it appears he won't be released until at least May 2025. Reports are now painting a bleak picture of his time in prison, with sources revealing that his conditions are not just uncomfortable but downright dangerous. The year 2024 took a dark turn for Diddy, beginning with his arrest in September on serious charges related to alleged incidents of abuse. As more details emerge, the former icon is facing a harsh new reality, far from the glitz and glamour he once enjoyed.
Is that a federal judge is now refusing to grant Sean Diddy Combs bail. Instead, he's going straight to jail tonight after Diddy pleaded not guilty to charges of trafficking and racketeering. Want to show you some of these brand new court sketches coming into us, like literally in the last 90 seconds. This is Combs in court after prosecutors arrested him at a hotel in Manhattan. That's where he's apparently been living for weeks, according to what a person familiar with the move tells NBC News. All of it a tipping point now in that sprawling federal investigation into the superstar's alleged years of crimes dating back to 2009. As we're just getting in some new and deeply disturbing details about the allegations against him. What looks like a massive criminal operation, allegedly. At least 50 victims and witnesses so far. And at the center of it, these hours and days-long acts known as, in their words, freak-offs that Combs supposedly orchestrated to victims.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them.
Prosecutors say Combs punched and kicked his victims to try to keep them under control. He'd also, they say, filled them up with drugs like ketamine and ecstasy for long periods of time, even using incriminating records to try to manipulate his victims. Prosecutors say they discovered this wide range of evidence against Combs in several raids. They found things, they say, like AR-15s, narcotics, more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And
Diddy's legal battles have been relentless since his arrest, with multiple bail hearings ending in repeated denials of his release.
Bail. I remember he's behind bars at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn waiting for his trial to get started next year in May. He's been detained for 2 months on charges of trafficking and racketeering, which he's pled not guilty to. Chloe Malas is following this for us. We were waiting for this decision. We got it in now. What do we know?
All right. Well, it's 5 pages. And the takeaway here is that the judge is saying that no condition or combination of conditions will reasonably assure the safety of the community. And that was what New York prosecutors were saying. I was in court twice last week and I listened to these prosecutors say that he was a danger to the community. And they showed that video, that surveillance video of him from 2016 brutally beating his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, saying that he has a propensity to violence, and that alone is a reason why we cannot agree to the proposed bail package. Now, his team had offered $50 million, a home of his in Miami as collateral, and they said that he would live in an apartment on Manhattan's Upper East Side, monitored by 24-hour security, that he would only talk to his attorneys, that he would only have, certain family members on a pre-approved list, and that, he would actually be under stricter conditions than he is at the jail in Brooklyn. But clearly, this is the 3rd time.
Yeah.
This judge not buying it.
What was Diddy like in court? You were there twice last week. What was
Yes.
his demeanor like?
I mean, he was smiling on Friday, turned around and looked at his children. All of his children were there except for his infant child. His mother was there. He looked a little thinner. He looked a little worse for wear. But he has seemed upbeat and positive. And a few days earlier on Wednesday, so a week ago today, his legal team had a win because his team was able to say that New York prosecutors wrongly obtained 16 pages of notes from his jail cell during a routine sweep, that it had his defense strategy, it had witnesses that they planned to call at the criminal trial in May, and the judge agreed that those should have been protected under attorney-client privilege. So there was a feeling today among reporter friends of mine and people in the building here that, maybe there's a chance that the judge, given he's taking several days to think about this, he asked for both sides to write a letter, that he might release him. But this is the third time. His team were waiting for a response from them, from his legal team. They could appeal again. But we were talking to Danny Savalos earlier, and he said, they would have to propose something new and different to potentially be successful for a fourth.
On November 27, 2024, Judge Ironsonian denied Diddy's bail, citing him as a significant risk to the community. As a result, he remains incarcerated at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, awaiting his trial scheduled for May 5, 2025.
First of all, Shauna, let's jump here to you, because I'm curious at all if you're surprised by this ruling from the judge here again to deny bail to Sean Diddy Combs.
No, I'm not surprised by the ruling because, as she cited in her order, there are very serious allegations about the danger that he potentially poses to other witnesses and the public at large. There are allegations that he has, been violent with others. He's also attempted to allegedly intimidate other witnesses and still contact witnesses while incarcerated, despite having an order that says he's not supposed to. So under these types of conditions, we usually find that the judge will not grant bail in order to preserve the judicial system and the witnesses and ensure that people feel comfortable being able to come to court and testify without being threatened with violence.
And that's part of exactly what the judge is saying, that no condition or combination of conditions will reasonably assure the safety of the community. I mean, Mike Muse, that is quite a statement here when someone is trying to get out on bail, noting that his defense lawyer said, let him out on bail. He would be in his 3-bedroom apartment right in New York, and that he would be monitored at all times. And the judge just not buying it.
Not buying it at all, Kana. And safety can mean a couple of different things. Safety just doesn't mean free from harm of violence. Safety can also, too, mean emotional and mental dynamics that could occur by Sean Combs reaching out to potential witness to get them to possibly change their testimony, to feel threatened that if they were to come forward and to testify against him, associates on the outside may be able to get in contact with them, really making them feel unsafe to go before the court, go before a jury, go before the witness stand and to testify. What we're also too seeing is the judge brought in evidence from a text that Cassie sent to Diddy after the elevator incident, where Cassie said, quote, you are sick to think that it was okay to do what you did to me, really feeding into what the judge is concerned about in terms of physical safety. So we highlighted mental and emotional safety as well as physical safety that the judge has cited as a reason needing to keep to deny Sean Combs bail.
Right, and of course that violent incident with Cassie is certainly the crux of this case, and we know that his lawyers have pushed back on that video a lot. His lawyer at one point said that in fact is evidence of a relationship deteriorating when it is viewed clearly very differently by the judge.
Sources revealed that spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for Diddy, as he grappled with the harsh realities of prison life during what should have been a season of celebration.
Was released and even called the bail package a, quote, very, very rigorous set of conditions. This part is wild. He said it was even more strict than the MDC jail. But Judge Subramanian, he didn't bite on that, and Diddy's bail was denied for the third time. According to a report from the Daily Mail, that's why Diddy had a breakdown. A person close to him apparently said, quote, spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him. If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they refused. This same friend or person told the Daily Mail, quote, he eventually managed to calm himself down with the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. It took him a few hours of deep breathing and focusing to get out of the bad space he was in, but he finally managed it. This isn't the first time Diddy's mental health has come into question while he's been at MDC. When he first arrived, he was on watch, which the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections describes as supervisory precautions taken for inmates that require frequent observation. Diddy's watch was only temporary, though.
He was housed in a special protective unit of the jail after that for the first few weeks of his stay. But Diddy right now is in Gen Pop, meaning general population, the place where majority of the inmates stay. And that's where he apparently had this meltdown over the holiday.
Located in Brooklyn, the Metropolitan Detention Center is notorious for its harsh conditions, often cited in Asteris' History of Violence * as one of the most dangerous prisons in the country. MDC has housed some of the most notorious criminals and has been plagued by numerous allegations of neglect and mistreatment.
Combs is locked up in a federal jail that has been plagued by harsh conditions and violence. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn has seen multiple deaths in recent years. An inmate was stabbed to death in July, and several others have died by It's these reasons, among others, that Combs' lawyers are fighting to get him out of there. They want him released on bail, rather than being kept in jail while he awaits trial on charges. Combs is just the latest high-profile defendant to be locked up at MDC Brooklyn. Before him, there were R. Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell, and crypto scammer Sam Bankman-Fried. Maxwell complained about her treatment at the facility, which included round-the-clock checks in the wake of her associate Jeffrey Epstein's jail. A few years ago, a week-long power outage in the dead of winter left detainees in drab, cold conditions. Judges have also raised alarms. They've pressed the Bureau of Prisons for status updates and implored the agency to fix things. One judge even refused to send some defendants to the jail. For now, Combs is one of about 1,200 people locked up at MDC Brooklyn. He's the highest profile detainee at a place that's been described as